Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and today we're talking about a card that you'll find in the Sultai Arisen Precon. And people are talking about it in videos, but not giving y'all ideas. So I was like, let me give y'all the ideas on how to use this card. This card is Steward of the Harvest for 3 and a green, 3/3 body, creature, human druid. She says, when this creature enters, exile up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard. Creatures you control have all activated abilities of all land cards exiled with this creature. This gets abusive. I'm about to maximize the screen so you can see what I'm about to talk about. So let me explain to you how powerful this card is. You get to exile 3 lands with a minimum of 3 activated abilities. Okay, so some lands come with 2 activated abilities. Mana abilities, when you tap the land for mana, that is considered an activated ability. So you will always have at least one creature that can utilize a minimum of 3 abilities. I'm saying it like that because most creatures do not have 2 to 3 plus abilities. Usually, the creatures with 3 plus abilities are OD, super powerful, some way busted. So, I'm trying to give you the same perspective that Steward of the Harvest can create for you and your deck, except you can have multiple creatures, like let's say 10 creatures, with at least 3 abilities. It's creepy to say it like that. So I really want to know, is this card busted? It seems like it's a lot of work to do something, but when it's on the battlefield with the right lands exiled and a certain amount of creatures, you could win the game. But let's first start with cards that, I'm actually really excited to bring this one for you. This is a 2018 Commander Precon. For you old heads that have this Precon deck, you will thank me later. Let's go. Tarkir Dragon Storm, 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 Storm. So one of the lands you can exile is Forge of Heroes. It is a land that taps for colorless, okay, but it also says tap it. Choose target commander that enter the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and a loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker. Okay, that's super cool. We know there's a bunch of commanders that would love to enter the battlefield with +1/+1 counters. Put that in the comment section below, commanders that do that. But I brought a commander that is a planeswalker, and it would be amazing if you brought it into play, being able to do its ultimate. Let me introduce you to Lord Windgrace. Yeah, right there at the bottom, it says Lord Windgrace can be your commander. An awesome commander. It is land graveyard themed if you never play it. It's in the precon called Nature's Vengeance. It came out in 2018. So if you're looking to upgrade your old buddy Lord Windgrace, Steward of the Harvest is the card for you. So let me read what he does. He is a Jund commander, starts off with 5 loyalty counters. His +2 is discard a card, then draw a card. If a land card is discarded this way, draw an additional card. Okay, so right there, Steward of the Harvest says exile cards from your graveyard. You're just synergistic already. And plus, you're going to be doing self mill. His -3 says return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Mana ramping. Oh my gosh, this gets ugly for your opponents. So remember, Forge of the Heroes. If you have the right amount of creatures and Steward of the Harvest, and you just tap those creatures, at least 6, to add a loyalty counter to a planeswalker that entered the battlefield this turn, you can do Lord Windgrace's ultimate. And his ultimate says -11. Destroy up to 6 target non-land permanents. Then create 6 2/2 green cat warrior creature tokens with Forest Walk. That's game over, y'all. That is, imagine being able to destroy 6 target non-land permanents your opponents control. That's probably going to be Aristic Study, Smothering Tithe, their favorite powerful creature, their commander, then you get to slap a total of minimum of 12 power and 2/2 green cat warrior creature tokens with Forest Walk. If your opponent has a forest on the side of their battlefield, that means they can't block your cat warriors. They're just taking damage. Oh, and it gets better than that. You know why? Because there's that Yavimaya land that says all lands are a forest in addition to their types. You know how many players play with that card? They're just giving you the game. Moving on to more lands that you should exile with Steward of the Harvest. Okay, so we got a Cursed Doomyard. Just want to remind y'all, you can exile up to 3 lands with Steward of the Harvest. You can exile up to 3 lands with Steward of the Harvest. Anyway, a Cursed Doomyard taps for a colorless mana. Cool. But its activated ability, the second one, says tap 2. Regenerate target Shade, Skeleton, Spectre, Spirit, Vampire, Wraith, or Zombie. The next time it will be destroyed this turn, instead tap it, remove it from combat, and head and heal all damage on it. Cool. So, you get to regenerate probably one of your favorite creatures. If you're know Magic pretty well, there's not a lot of zombie commanders with. Actually, there's zero. I was just gassing you up for a second. There is no zombie commander that has green in its color pip, but there are other popular commanders that you can use this regeneration activated ability for. Let's start. I'm not even going to go in detail of all the spirit dragons that come with the Tarkir Dragon Storm set. All of them are spirit dragons. You get to regenerate target spirit. It's easy as that. And most of them have self-mill mechanics built in. Betor, Kindle Taval, Arbiter of Virtue. Like, what are we talking about here? This is a no-brainer. But I got another commander, actually 3 more, that if you just looking to upgrade your commander with and add Steward of the Harvest with, it's going to tickle your fancy. Ooh, if you like dinosaurs, let me introduce you to Galta and Maverin. For 3, 2 green, 2 white, 12/12 body. Legendary dinosaur vampire. Remember, we can regenerate vampires. So imagine just having this ability on your creature, and you just do this multiple times. Let's say he just goes to combat, or your opponents try to hit him with some kind of burn spell, and you just need to regenerate your big bad dinosaur. Yeah, easy as that. Let me read them to you because if you're a dinosaur fanatic and you haven't seen this commander, you're gonna want to buy him. Okay, 12/12 body dinosaur vampire. He has trample. He better have trample. He says whenever you attack, choose one. Create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur creature token with trample, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures. Ooh, so you're going tall right there. Okay. Or create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is the number of other attacking creatures. So you get versatility. Either you go tall or wide. This is a great in-game scenario where you can decide how you want to defeat your opponents. Disgusting. Moving on to the next 2. Ooh, I forgot. These are other precon commanders too. And guess what? Steward of the Harvest just works so well with them because they have graveyard themes, self-mill themes going on. So you will have lands in the graveyard to tap in Steward of the Harvest's ability. First up, we got Oboom, Muldaya Ancestor for 1 and Naya, 3/3 body. Legendary Elf Spirit. You get to regenerate him. At the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is Oboom's power. It's still a land. Then he has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Easy as that. Moving on to Carador, Ghost Chieftain for 5 and Abzan. Abzan. This has been popular with the Abzan Power Precon from Tarkir Dragonstorm. 3/4 body. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. You're already self-milling. You're already putting cards in your graveyard. Most likely there will be lands in your graveyard for Steward of the Harvest to exile. Then Carador says, once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard. Self-reanimator right there. What are we talking about? You got to regenerate your commanders. Keep them on the battlefield. That's how you win games. Look, I went into Scryfall to find cards for y'all to use with Steward of the Harvest. I know it's a popular card, and I found a fight mechanic on a land. Okay, it's a little specific, but let's talk about contested cliffs. Tap it, add one color's mana. Okay, tap a red and a green, so that means it's going to be in at least a minimum of a Gruul deck. All right, target beast you control fights target creature and opponent controls. Oh man, if you bought any of the foundation set, this commander was super popular, and he works so well with this card. Uh, and there's a bunch of beasts out there anyway. If you're playing red green, you're probably grueling anyway. So let's talk about this fight mechanic that is going to be able to be on your creatures, allowing you to do fight mechanics multiple times. Because if you play with the fight mechanic, you're usually limited to once, maybe two times, as if you have a copy spell or a copy permanent. What the commander, there's a mono green commander that says when a creature enters the battlefield, you can tap 2 mana to fight it. No, Steward of the Harvest allows your creatures to fight for you. Let's go. Oh, so I want to introduce this card also because it involves fight mechanic too. It's called Arena. It's around $5. I just checked it out on Scryfall as of what, April 17th, something like that. It's a land. Tap 3 mana. Tap target creature you control and target creature of an opponent's choice he or she controls. Each of those creatures deal damage equal to its power to the other. This is really good. The fight mechanic is amazing when your creature has lifelink or death touch, because when it deals damage, it's either going to gain life through life gain or it's going to kill that creature because it has death touch. That's a win-win. And now imagine you have 5 creatures that are able to do that. You can board wipe an opponent at your choice, unless they have indestructible. Oh, my bad. So look, the first commander I had talked about from Foundations that worked with the Beast land mechanic thing going on is Slinza the Spike Stampede. 4 and a green, 5/5 Beast. Beast spells you cast, 2 less to cast. Each other beast you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1. Whenever Slinza or another creature with power 4 or greater enters, you may pay 2, 1 in Gruul. When you do, fights target creature you don't control. Bam! That's synergistic with this commander. Just the more fight spells you can do, the more board wiping control you can do in at least Gruul colors. So next up is another beast commander. Mural the Miststalker for 2 and Naya, 5/5 body, beast. He has hexproof. And he says, Euro the Miststalker gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. So this is a Voltron commander. He's going to go tall. And guess what? If you're able to use fight mechanics for him, you can just be able to take out your opponent's creatures. Easy as that, because he's going to be pretty powerful. Moving on. So yeah, just moving on to the arena card. Once again, it has the fight mechanic built on it. Atraxa Praetor's Voice is a great example of a creature that has death touch and lifelink. So if you have Steward of the Harvest, um, this land out, and Atraxa, you're able to just do the fight mechanic and just gain life and kill creatures. Win, win, win. Win, 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 win. And remember, I got to remind y'all, Steward of Harvest exiles 3 lands. So multiple creatures can have multiple abilities. Yeah. Okay, so we got Arid Archway. Nothing too crazy. It enters the battlefield tapped. And then it says, when it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. If another desert was returned this way, surveil 1. We don't care about all that. What we care about is tapping it and you add 2 mana. If your creatures can tap as soul rings, that is a lot of mana. 5 creatures that have disabilities, that is 10 mana. Okay, that was just a utility card. I'm really setting you up for a really good card. Let me show you. Eldrazi Temple. You can tap it for 1 colorless, or you can tap it to add 2 colorless. But spend this mana only to cast colorless Eldrazi spells or activate abilities of colorless Eldrazi. So yeah, it's obvious. If you have Steward of the Harvest and you exile this card, and your opponent decides to look at this card, they better expect an Eldrazi. And guess what? Eldrazi are colorless, so they go in every deck. So if you have a mono green deck and Steward of the Harvest is in your 99, what are we talking about here? You can cast all those monster Eldrazi's at a very low rate. Let's show. Emrakul, the Eon's Torn, he costs 15 mana. He's a 15/15 legendary Eldrazi. If y'all don't know what Eldrazi's do by now, you might be new to Magic. They're like the worst creature type to go against because they are ridiculous. And like one hits the battlefield and everybody should panic. If it can't be countered, like Emrakul, we're all in trouble. It can be bounced though. Bounce back to the owner's hand. But anyways, you want me to read this? You want me to read this, Commander? I shall. I shall. 15/15 body, Eldrazi. The spell can't be countered. When you cast a spell, take an extra turn after this one. Gross. He has flying, protection from spells that are one or more colors, Annihilator 6. Then he says when Emrakul the Eon's Torn is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles a graveyard into the library. Actually, sorry, he cannot be bounced. Yeah, if he's targeted with a bounce spell, most likely it is one color. But there are colorless spells that bounce or destroy target non-land permanent. Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that. But anyway, you see how abusive this is. Moving on to the summary. So, Steward of the Harvest, I think, is an amazing creature because it has the mimic effect. And this mimic effect can be abused because you're exiling up to 3 lands, and God knows what minimum of 3 abilities you plan on exiling and letting your creatures tap into. Tap a land, tap into. But where it gets really powerful is you can have multiple creatures with all these abilities. So it can get creative. You can have one creature just tap to add mana, while the other one does the activated ability, etc., etc. You don't even have to. You can. You literally, at worst, you turn all your creatures into mana dorks, and you can use that mana to cast spells or activate abilities, right? But that's not where it gets really crazy. It gets really crazy because you can have multiple creatures and loop whatever set of effects or do a certain effect multiple times more explosively compared to just having it by itself. So Steward of the Harvest might be a little tough to put on the battlefield and execute exiling all those lands, but I think Lord Windgrace is a great commander that just super synergistic, that just lets you run away with his ultimate ability. That's a great example of what you can do. In the comment section below, let me know what cards that you chose for Steward of the Harvest that would great well, and what kind of loops you plan on doing, or what abilities and what commanders you are working with. Thank y'all. I'm out. Commander Claw. Peace.